Hey friends, today we are in Hermosa Beach. Well, let me start with, I'm Mickey Marafino and I am on the board of the Friends of Redondo Beach Arts. And I am so excited to have a show where we feature some of our amazing artists in Redondo Beach. We're actually in Hermosa Beach today with one of our featured artists, Edie Pfeifer. And we are at her home, which is also her studio. And it's just a fabulous home. So I wanted to have a sneak peek and actually meet her at the front door. So let's turn around the camera and go meet Edie. So this is the home of Edie Pfeifer, and it's so welcoming. And she's got art just everywhere. She actually made this lamp right here. Oh, Edie, here we are.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you. Super excited to be here. Let me grab the door, close the door. There we go. How are you?
Doing great. So this is the window that matches the lamp, or vice versa.
Yeah. So this piece, did you make this?
I made that in an adult education class back in the 70s.
Wow. That's amazing. And then you have more stained glass here and more stained glass here.
Kind of fan of stained glass.
Yeah, and there's one of your, what I call your signature pieces. We'll see a little bit more of that. And so we're just gonna take a little walk through your beautiful home and take a peek at some of the art you have in your house. So
this piece here, entwined.
That's beautiful. And tell us about this little guy right here.
This is the very first sculpture I ever made. I think
Wow.
I was in 3rd grade, and that's supposed to be a dinosaur. The thing that kind of surprised me after my brother pulled it out of the attic, I hadn't seen it in many years, was I sort of have some of the things that I incorporate in my sculpture now I had way back then.
Wow, isn't that crazy? Isn't it crazy how it's part of you, right?
Yeah, I guess.
And then I love, this is another, I think, one of your signature pieces, but this gal right here, who's this?
Well, that's me back when I used to be a redhead.
I love it. I love it. I can totally see it.
It's a self-portrait. That was made when my grandson was kind of young, and he went, oh, look, one eye's green and one eye's blue, and then there's blue over the other eye and green over the other eye.
How old was your grandson when he noticed all that?
Oh gosh, he couldn't have been more than maybe 10.
Wow. Good eye.
He's 27 now.
Well, yeah, that was a couple of years ago. Well, great. So let's go out onto your beautiful porch. You're heading towards the studio. And some more, this is a beautiful, and you made this table too, right?
Yes, I hand painted all those butterflies.
Oh, beautiful.
And I sponge painted the other tiles and broke them up to put in between.
Oh, great. And you're a
that was
plant
my second
lover.
Attempt at a table. As we go down the stairs, you'll see my first attempt was all ocean oriented.
Well, and you said this was your first mosaic piece ever.
And I just made it up. I mean, I was hand painting tiles at the time, and so I wanted to make a table. I had a round table sitting here. I couldn't figure out how to do that, so I filled in with the broken tile, and that was my first experience.
Wow, that's so brave. That's a huge table for your first experience. And then you've got your beautiful garden here with a lot of your mosaic pots, right?
Right. A lot of those pieces are test tiles from a local potter who passed away a few years ago, named Frank Matranga. His wife gave me boxes of his test tiles. He was a potter, and he did, mixed his own glazes and did tests on them. So I made a lot of pots here in the garden.
Great. So
out of Frank's tiles, kind of memory of him when I see them. He was a good friend. He fired my sculptures for many years before I finally got my own kiln.
Oh, wow. Memories, especially in special places like the garden.
And this is one of my neighbors bought this house, and my neighbors bought that from me.
That's beautiful. I love those calla lilies too.
Yeah, they came out beautiful.
So now we're heading into the studio. Wow. See,
There,
these are.
there and some light.
Try this again. Connect.
Okay, I hope it works.
Okay, we're gonna try this again. We are. Hey, Edie, hi.
Hi.
Now we are in the studio with Edie Pfeifer. We had a little connectivity issue. You know, you just can't really always plan for that. We did many practices, but you never know, right? So here we are with Edie Pfeifer in her studio, her garage studio with her amazing kiln. And I love, this is actually how I met Edie. I purchased one of what I call her Merm Angels, just exactly like this one, at the California 101 art exhibit. And that's one of the places where Edie has sold her art before. Hi, Edie.
Hi.
Well, give us a tour of your beautiful studio.
Welcome to my studio. Over here I have a pot in progress. I've been doing flower pots lately.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love the way did you break the tiles?
Some I broke, some I cut with a tile cutter.
Oh, okay.
The ones down on the bottom here are broken.
Oh, yeah.
And then, you know, sometimes I have to nip them a bit to make them fit into the puzzle.
Mm-hmm. And you've got two finished.
These are two finished pots. These were commissions. Richard Stevens, an artist friend of mine, commissioned me to do some pots.
Oh, nice.
And he'll be picking those up one of these days soon.
Great. And
Another
then
thing that I ventured into is stepping stones. Actually, I was doing those before I was doing the flower pots. I wanted something that was functional, that was affordable. They run $50.
and this is what they look like before.
Yeah, this is what it starts with. It's a 2-inch thick. You can buy those at Lowe's, Home Depot, and then I draw my design on there and start putting on the mosaics.
Great. How long does it take you to make one of these?
You know, it varies, but a lot of hours.
Right.
Let's just put it that way.
Right.
A lot of hours.
And then tell us about these beautiful busts.
These were inspired by a Russian expressionist, Alexei Jawlensky. He was one of the Blue Four. And I went one day with a friend, Patty Grau, another local artist, to the Norton Simon to see an exhibit of his, and he did drawings. But I saw these beautiful, colorful, abstract faces that he had done in, I think it was pastels, and it just blew me away, and I kept thinking, wow, I could do that in 3D. How cool would that be? I could put color into my art. Prior to this, I mainly have put bronze-like finishes on the work that I've done. It was what was taught to me in the classes that I took, and I made some variations of my own over the years, but I really do like color, and the Heads gave me that opportunity to use that in my work.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So how did you get started?
Well, you know, all artists say, oh, I loved art from the time I was a kid. Well, I did too. No different, except that the thing I fell in love with was clay. I just loved the feel of it, and the fact that you could, you know, squish it and make it into something, and I just loved clay and found it fascinating.
Did you start when you were like a toddler, or?
Well, no, it was in school.
Okay.
We didn't. There was not clay, like around my house or anything. I didn't learn about that. But that little piece that I showed you in the house,
Mm-hmm.
the
Third grade.
the third grade.
Wow.
I think that was probably my first introduction to clay, and I tried to work with it. I mean, sometimes it was mud. I would make mud pies and make little bowls out of mud, and I couldn't understand why they didn't last, but I had fun doing it. And finally, when I was in junior high and high school, we had art classes, and I could take ceramics. And I went on to Santa Monica City College. It was a city college back then. And I took several ceramics classes, and the teacher was impressed with, I guess, my work ethic as well as my abilities. I was asked to be the lab tech for the ceramic department, and I learned to load the kiln and to mix glazes from the formulas that he would leave for me, and different things in the ceramic lab. So that was fun.
And then tell me a little bit about your first big business breakthrough.
Well,
do you want to sit down? Are you more comfortable sitting down?
Sure.
Yeah.
My father worked for Douglas Aircraft in Santa Monica, and on Ocean Park Boulevard, the old plant.
Mm-hmm.
And he got around the plant a lot. He did a lot of walking and knew everybody, and everybody knew him. And I had a very small kiln at the time, and I was making things like ashtrays, where everybody smoked back then, as I'm talking in the 60s. And so I made him an ashtray, and I painted the Douglas Aircraft logo in the ashtray. And he had that on his desk, and one day some of the big wheels came by and saw it and just went, "Oh, wow, where did you get that? We have to have some of those for our boardroom." So I actually got a commission to do, I think it was probably 12 or 15. I made my own mold and made them in the shape of the actual boardroom table.
Oh, wow.
Which was like an octagonal. And then I painted the Douglas logo in there, and even the color, they wanted a certain color, Douglas green. And so that was my first real commission.
Wow.
But I used to do a lot of things like copper enamel jewelry, and I would do people's monograms, make a monogram out of their initials, and earrings and cufflinks and things like that.
And you made it in clay, and you...
Well, I also did, at that stage, I had a tiny little copper enamel kiln.
Oh, wow.
That's what I made jewelry in. It was like some kind of a kit. I think I had gotten it for Christmas, and it lasted for years and years, and I just loved it. But it seemed like I was always into some kind of craft or other. And but my sculpting career, I mean, I'd always liked sculpture, and I had actually taken some sculpture at Santa Monica. They didn't have a specific sculpture class at that time. They do now, I understand, have quite a nice program. It was part of the ceramics class. Anyway, adult education had a lot of classes. They used to have ceramics, they used to have wood shop, stained glass. That was where I made that window as you came in the front door.
Right.
And I noticed when the new catalog came out in 1978, studio sculpture, live models.
Oh.
All ranges of abilities. And I thought, wow, that'll be great. So I took that class. The teacher was Annette Morse. She has since passed on, but a wonderful sculptor and a wonderful teacher. And I just kept taking the same class over and over, as you can. And realistic, we did have live nude models. Some of the pieces are like right up there. Those two, the female on this side over that one's me with the glasses on.
I know. I
That's
said,
another-
this one looks familiar.
That's another self-portrait, but the other three, the guy with the beard and the woman on this end down here, were models, and then this torso over here in the corner, that was actually the first large piece I did in class. We did a lot of smaller pieces, sort of building up to our, to a place where we would do a larger one. And I just learned a lot, and she kept encouraging me to experiment with abstraction, which I kind of fought at first. I was like, oh.
Looks like you've embraced it now.
I love it now.
Yeah.
I finally got into it and started working, and I go, oh, wow, this is fun. This is, I'm not copying something, I'm doing my own interpretation of it.
Right. So tell me now, I talked about what I call the mermaid angel that I just love so much, but this is pretty unique. Can you tell us a little bit about how you discovered, what is the material?
Well, it is clay, but it's a special kind of clay called paper clay. There is paper mixed in with the clay, and that gives it a lot of strength, especially in the greenware stage, which is before it's fired. So I found out about it. I started experimenting with it. I came up with this process of rolling out a slab and cutting out almost like a cookie cutter type thing, and then forming and shaping. And with that kind of clay, you can do a lot of things that you can't do with just regular sculpture clay.
Like what?
Like extensions and like all of this lattice type cutting out. It's very difficult to keep that in the greenware stage, and it tends to break.
Okay.
With other regular clay.
Okay.
So I started experimenting. I did a whole series of over 100 pieces that I call flowing figures, like this is one here, and this is one up here, this is one here, and I just numbered them, flowing figure number 1, 2, 3, and so on and so on. I did some mermaids, and I did some angels, like I did a whole series of what I call butterfly angels.
Wow.
I had done angels previous to this, but I couldn't get this flowing and this cutouts with regular clay without it falling apart when it dried. So I did a lot of angels, I did a lot of mermaids. To answer your original question about the mer angel, I decided to combine the two and do a mermaid angel. Thinking, well, mermaids could be the angels of the sea.
They are.
Why not?
They are. Of course they are.
So, this is one of the regular, I call these butterfly angels, and I did a lot of those, and I did a lot of separate mermaids. I've done mermaids in the other style as well. They're very popular. Over the years, I've done a lot of mermaids, being near the beach.
For sure. So, Edie, if we are interested in purchasing art from you, how would we do that?
Okay, I have a website, ediepfeifer.com.
Okay.
On that website, you will find my email. The website itself does not have the, like put it in the cart and buy it and ship it to you.
Right.
It's a very basic kind of website, and all of the work on there, as far as the sculpture, is work that I have here that is available for sale.
Okay.
And for the sculpture, if you go to the website and you find something you love and you think you want to buy it, you get a hold of me by the email. That's claysculptorgal@gmail.com.
And we'll make sure we put all that information in the show notes.
Okay. And, contact me and say that you saw this on Facebook. I will give you a very nice discount.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much. We'll make sure we put that in the show notes too. Awesome.
Now the mosaic, I have a lot of the stepping stones in a few of the pots. At this present time, I'm not discounting if you order one to, by like a commission type thing.
Right.
I have down here the 4, I think you showed those maybe.
Yes, the stepping stones.
And those normally go for $50. These 4 in the studio that I have already made, I could give you like, they're normally 50, I could go for 40.
Wow, okay.
If you want to purchase one that's already pre-made. Now, if you
Okay.
ordered one to be made, they're 50.
Right.
But since I've had these hanging around for a while.
Well, and I think that's really smart of you to also kind of diversify your portfolio with something a little bit more affordable, but also functional, like and the pots too.
The galleries and the shops that I used to have my work out on consignment, and it was actually happening pre-COVID, but then COVID really did it, and they're all closed now, the ones that I was in, and I don't know. I don't feel like starting over.
Right. Well, as long as we can get in touch with you, I know you're also on Instagram and Facebook. So there's lots of ways for people to see your work and for people to get in touch with you. And if they want to talk to you about a commission, that's super. I think they've been able to get a good feel for the breadth of your work. It's very diverse.
Yes.
It's great. Well, thank you so much, Edie. It's been so wonderful to talk to you and share all of your art and your studio and your beautiful home with our guests. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome, and thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. Bye.
Bye.